try to bombard them with real estate stuff every single day. If I find an interesting article, I'll repost the article from a source or something. Every single person that I kind of run into that knows me from Facebook, they're like, oh yeah, we know you're in real estate, we see your posts and everything. If I find an interesting video or something like that, I'll put it on there.
Everyone in this room has had the experience of being marketed to just constantly. And I think what's really cool about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and, well, LinkedIn to a lesser extent, but specifically Facebook and Twitter, is that they're conversations. And so really what we aim to do with these marketing tools, because that's what they are, they're marketing tools, is we aim to develop relationships and encourage a conversation. Every post shouldn't be a sales pitch. It should be, you know, what kind of benefit are you offering your friend?
There's a way to kind of become a neighborhood expert without being real estate related. Like, I live in Horsham, my office is in Bluebell. If I go to a good restaurant or something, I'll kind of post a review on Facebook. You should really check this out. This is what we had. It was great stuff. You know, and kind of everything in the community like that, but really don't mention real estate. You know, and then when the time comes to buy or sell, people are like, oh, you seem very familiar with this neighborhood. Can you help me out with it?
I'm a big fan of Twitter. I'm really heavy on Twitter. And for many different reasons. I've got very heavily into it, and maybe I don't want to talk about it now. Is that okay?
Yeah, cool.
On Wednesday of last week, Al Heavens called me up, contacted me, and says, I want a quote from you. And I haven't heard from Al in a while. And the only reason he's done that is because I'm out there now. If you search my name, I'll be on page 1. If you search Wayne Homes, Mainline Homes, on page 1. I'm 1 or 2 from the top. It's taken a long time to do that. And I've done that with Twitter. And things like Twitter, things like Snapping, things like Foursquare, blogs. It takes time to do that. I think you should spend at least, as agents, we need to spend at least 15 to 20 minutes a day doing this.
About a year ago, I was taking a training class at the office over there, and we had to contact so many people for each class, like how many new contacts that you made. And then I discovered Facebook. Wow. Look at all these people I can contact. I can go back in and I can hit Plymouth White Marsh High School. Everybody that went to the school, I can make them all my friends. So I started making everybody in the area I could possibly come in contact to be my friend. And then the biggest one I got, I was over at somebody's house about a month or 2 ago, and he said the neighbor's going to put their house up for sale. So the next day I go to the neighbor's house, and I was just going to send him a note, you know, to see, you know, if I could get the listing, but there was no address out front. It was in Worcester. The numbers run all over the place. So I decided to go up and knock on the door. So I knocked on the door, and the wife answers the door, and she says, "Oh, we're friends on Facebook." So it was like, wow. Okay, yeah, it was great. And then I chased it down. I got the listing. It took me about a week or 2 to get the listing. Then I took the listing. Boy, the pictures came out so beautiful. My son just got a real fancy camera, so we took all these photos, we put it up on Facebook. Somebody else that I know that I was friends with saw the pictures on there, had their house for sale. The listing just happened to be expiring, called me up, and they wanted their pictures of their house to look just like the other house. So I got that listing too. And there's a lot more that's been coming out of it. I mean, it's all interconnected. You know, the best part about it, it's
I have a system called Social Oomph. And every morning I go in there and I set up specific times when I want the tweets to hit. Because if you're doing it all day, we don't have time for that. So you set it up.
So how do you, in Social Oomph?
Social Oomph, it's free. You go in there and you set up the tweets that you want. Now the key is you have to shorten the URL. Now in order to shorten the URL, Social Oomph has a thing where you can go and do it. You take the URL, bring it into their program, it'll shorten it for you, makes it a certain amount of small characters, and then off you go.
Bitly is great in terms of tracking who's clicking on your links, when they're clicking, where they're finding you from. Bitly is a great resource to track things.
bit.ly?
bit.ly. Bitly.
You can put your properties on Facebook through postlets, okay? But you know, I'm still learning how to use it a lot too. But once you put it on postlets, you kind of lose it, I believe, off of your page. So it's better to put your own photos up there and keep it as an album. So anybody that looks you up, they see all these properties that you have for sale. It just tells them so much about you, what area you're marketing in, the type of house.
If you have a Facebook page, if you have a Twitter account, if you have a LinkedIn account, if you post videos to YouTube, these are all extensions of your existing website. The key is to always drive traffic back to one central place. Post your content on your website. Your website is your online home. It's your online identity. Everything else should be a marketing tool to drive people back to your website. That's where you can, if you're doing any sort of Google Analytics, if you're tracking things, you can find out where they found you from, where they came from. Did they Google you, or did they click a link that you had? There's a lot of ways to track how people are finding you, but you need that one main home that people are going to go back to. And I recommend that it always goes back to your website or your blog, whatever your preference.
So as soon as I meet any potential lead, first thing I do, grab their email address, invite them to Facebook and Twitter.
In terms of your Facebook followings, how many people do you guys have?
I believe right now I currently have just under 1,000 friends, like 970 or so.
Twitter, Facebook about 300-400. Twitter over 1,000.
Great.
I have about 3,000 on Facebook.
Wow.
You just signed up everybody when you started.
Yeah, well, I think you're only allowed to have 5,000.
Yeah,
So my goal is to try to keep them in this area around here now. Just kind of be a little bit more selective with it. But anybody around this area, I'll put them on there as my friend.
I'm the mayor of Wayne office. Now, some gal beat me out and it really irritated me. So every time I'm there, I'm like this, check in. Now, the reason I do this is not because I want to be a jerk about it. It's because Google spiders it and searches it so that her name was coming up as the mayor of Peninsula Foxen Road from Wayne, and it was irritating. So I made sure that I was mayor again.
I think it's also beneficial because if you are really kind of promoting yourself and championing yourself as someone who knows their neighborhood, who knows their city, who knows their,
That's the point.
that
That's the
you're
key
out
thing.
and about. So, if I go somewhere and I check in on Foursquare that I'm at, X, Y, and Z restaurant, or I've gone to this health club, or I'm, here buying a pair of shoes, it's less about the inherent need I have to let people know I'm buying shoes, because let's face it, that's kind of goofy. What's more important is that I'm kind of putting forth that, I know my city, I know what's happening, I know, where things are, I know, and I'm out and about. So how do you find the people that you are friends with on Facebook, or that you follow or follow you back on Twitter? How do you find those people?
Most of the people that I set up on Facebook, I basically took my whole top producer database, exported the file, and just imported everyone into Facebook. Everyone from elementary school to high school, and people that I meet on the street, just grab their email address, put them right in Facebook. You'd be surprised how quickly it grows. Then you do a little bit of Facebook stalking. I mean, you look through their friends, see if anyone looks familiar, and invite them as well. Going back to the fan pages a little bit, a lot of agents are getting away from doing personal fan pages. They're tying it into the farming. So say you farm a neighborhood, you can create a Facebook page for that farm area. So you can put everything that's happening in that area, put rules and associations for the development or any activities, and it kind of makes you the expert of the area with, kind of not having to pay for the marketing cost of it. I mean, it's a free way to kind of farm.
If you don't want to use Facebook as a professional tool like that, okay, that's totally fine. There are other options out there, and I think LinkedIn is a really good one in terms of connecting with people that you know in a strictly professional space. These are people that maybe you've exchanged business cards with, or you've met in a professional capacity. Here is where you connect with them. Here's where you kind of have a conversation, and it opens up a whole new world of online opportunities in terms of professional groups, affiliations, and things like that.